Spiritual Teaching 160. Love each other. 1. The fruit of life, the fruit sweet and agreeable to the Spirit, is what I come to give you in my word. Eat and feel that you are around the Lord's table. O prophets of the third era, prepare yourselves to see what only the appointed are given to contemplate. While many of those who make up these crowds do not feel my presence in their hearts and spirits, you can bear witness of your views, a testimony full of light and truth, both in content and in form. Truly I tell you that when one of you prepares, the Spirit enters the light of spiritual life, where it becomes saturated and inspired to be able to then explain your vision to those who are waiting for your testimony. 2. When these people become spiritualized and learn to feel my presence, they will no longer need the seer to give them proof that my manifestation has been a truth. Then I will be able to say to them, "Blessed are those who believe without seeing." 3. Delicate and serious is the responsibility of the seer, because in many cases, the faith of many depends on his word, weak hearts seeking evidence to believe. 4. Great must be the intuition that the seer develops to understand if what he sees in spirit is the fruit of a good preparation or not. If what he has contemplated should be testified to his brothers or if he should keep silent. But how few of those who have received this gift have known how to cultivate it with the love, zeal, and spirituality that it requires. 5. The gift of clairvoyance is one of the most delicate, so I tell you that without spirituality, we'll never be able to penetrate the gaze of the seer in the spiritual region. 6. Spirituality means elevation of feelings, purity in life, faith, love for others, charity, humility before God, and deep respect for the other gifts they receive. When you achieve any of these virtues, you begin to penetrate with your spiritual gaze in the mansion of love and perfection. Thus, when you achieve spirituality, from earth you can say that you inhabit, even if only in the moments of your prayer, in the spiritual valley, and at the same time you will receive the light that reveals to you facts that belong to the future, that for the Spirit, when it begins to rise, the future ceases to be a mystery. 7. Yes, disciples. Only in human life. Man does not know what will happen in the future, what will come tomorrow. His destiny unknown, he ignores the path he will have to travel and what his end will be. 8. The man could not resist the knowledge of all the tests that in his existence he will have to pass. And in my charity for him I have spread that veil of mystery between his present and his future, thus preventing his mind from wandering, contemplating, or knowing everything that they will have to live and feel. 9. On the other hand, the Spirit, a being clothed with strength and created for eternity, has within itself the faculty of knowing its future, the gift of knowing his destiny, and the strength to understand and accept whatever trials await him, because he knows that in the end of a road, when it has been traveled with an obedience to the law, it will have to reach the land of promise, paradise of the Spirit, which is the state of evolution, purity, and perfection, which he will have finally reached. 10. For your spirituality, take me as an example, because for that I became a man at that time. Each of my works remained as a lesson for men. But if my works were a teaching for humanity, you must imitate them, so that you achieve your evolution and the development of the gifts of the Spirit and human faculties, and you approach more and more to the example that with my life, my works and words, I gave you. 11. Remember that I, as a man, always knew what my destiny was in the world. I knew the future, and I gave testimony from my childhood. Through Jesus, I spoke to my disciples about everything that would happen in the last days of my stay on earth. What would be my passion and my sacrifice? Revealed to humanity the spiritual future of men. I anticipated what would happen in the nations, from those times to those that would exist in the time. that point to my new manifestation, which you call the second coming. 12. The spirituality of the body of Jesus allowed him to know his destiny, because my spirit revealed it to him. And that same spirituality gave him the strength to accept my will with absolute love and humility. 13. You cannot reach the degree of spirituality of your master to be able to know what your destiny holds for you, what the future has in store for you. But through your elevation I will make you feel the proximity of some event. 14. That presentiment, that clairvoyance about the future, that knowledge about your destiny, you will only achieve it as your being, made up of body and spirit, rises up the path of spirituality, which I tell you again, is faith, it is purity, it is love of life, it is love and charity for your fellow men, it is humility and love before your Lord. 15. To help you in the purification of your being, I am transmitting to you my thoughts that you receive them converted into word through the understanding of my spokesman, and that points you to a path of light. I bless the one who believes in this as true, as I also bless those who doubt, because you are all my disciples, my very beloved children. 16. My lessons through this communication will leave a trail of spirituality among the crowds, which will remind my disciples that I was with them in a new form, to fulfill my promise. 17. This is the new day that the larks have greeted with their trills, to announce to humanity the presence of the third era. 18. My new manifestation was announced to coincide with the time of the struggle between the elevation of the spirit and the materiality of the flesh, of the war between truth and lies, of the battle between good and evil, between light and darkness. 19. Behold your brothers, those who are called powerful. They want to succeed by killing. They want to raise their new kingdom over rubble, ruins and corpses. 20. I tell you that you are in time to sow the seed of light and peace in the lands that you have fertilized with your love. 21. That is why I seek the hearts of men, to save them from their tribulation and free them from their confusion, because I will triumph, giving you eternal life, to be able to reign in the end over the living. 22. My spiritual hosts are in full struggle for the salvation of their brothers on earth, and truly I say, they will not return defeated, but on the contrary they will arrive singing triumphal hymns. 23. I come to redeem you through thought, without the need for my word to incarnate again to live among you. How strange is it that my spirit communicates with yours through thought? Why think it strange that the shepherd has to look for his lost sheep? 24. Truly I tell you, since before you existed, I loved you, and knowing your destiny, I had already thought about your salvation. That is why it was my will to manifest humanly with men, because with my love I wanted to teach you the path of light that will lead you one day to dwell in eternity, in my paternal bosom. 25. On earth I manifested my divine power through Jesus. I raised Lazarus. I converted Magdalena. I gave light back to the blind in body and spirit. I flooded hearts with faith and hope, opened a new path for stagnant spirits, and finally, I watered the earth with my blood and gave you my body, proof that I was among you for love, to give of myself everything to whom I love so much. 26. Now, as in that time, I come to give myself in spirit to humanity, to save you by making you useful, because the seed that I have brought for you to sow, it is the seed of usefulness that will make you stop being sterile in spirit and parasites of life. 27. Will you still take time to practice? Yes, my children, but what is for you years and centuries, for me are instants. I serve the time so that the fruit of love matures in minds, hearts, and spirits. 28. This is the time when the divine light will shine in fullness in my followers, who will manifest the gifts of the Spirit, demonstrating that they do not need earthly goods or material sciences to do charity and do wonders. They will heal in my name. They will heal the terminally ill. They will turn water into balm and his bed to the dead. Your prayer will have the power to appease the winds, to appease the elements, and combat the epidemics and bad influences. 29. The possessed will free themselves from their obsessions, from their persecutors and oppressors, before the word, prayer, and power of my new disciples. 30. But truly I tell you, when I see my people ready, I will let them know the hour when they must get up to the fight of light against darkness. And if you are strangers, think with serenity that it is not the first time that man repudiates my seed. From the earliest times, man has cut branches from the tree to plant them according to his will, then not knowing what its origin was. And I want you to know that in essence that tree is I, in my work over which man should not exert any influence, but only receive its benefits and propagate its seed. 31. The fight of good against evil exists not only in your world, you can also find it in the spiritual valley. There are great battles and its influence reaches you, resulting in wars. Do not allow the spiritual world that has been protecting you to be replaced by beings of little light. Watch over your steps and constantly invoke peace for this world in which you live. 32. Pray and work. Spiritualize yourselves so that you can win all the trials. Remember the lessons given you, the people called Israel who knew how to rise to the call of their Lord. He was taken to the desert to learn a great lesson. There he knew the law. He learned to communicate with his Father. He allowed spiritual gifts to awaken. Learn to obey the divine dictates, to be inspired by the law, and to walk united, with harmony and fraternity. 33. That obedience saved him from dangers and obstacles. Their union made him strong in front of his adversaries. Your order did you bear and often happy. His journey, his perseverance and faith led him to achieve victory and see the fulfillment of the divine promise. When the men of this time review the history of that people, they marvel at the great faith of those men and amazed at so many wonders that the Lord sowed on his way. And when he heard your chest sigh at that faith and spirituality, I tell you that it is in man that those wonders return. When I see them ready, I will manifest myself in them. 34. Now it is up to all of you who are already prepared and awake to announce the liberation of the world. Remember that Elijah, the promised one for this time, is preparing everything to rescue the nations of the kingdom from Pharaoh's rule, earth, enslaved by materialism, as in that time Moses did in Egypt with the tribes of Israel. 35. Tell your brothers that Elijah has already manifested himself by human understanding, that his presence has been in spirit, and that it will continue to illuminate the way to all the peoples who come from now on. 36. Your spiritual shepherd's mission is to restore all creatures to his true path, be it spiritual, moral, or material. So which I tell you, that the nations that receive the call of their Lord, through Elijah, will be blessed, because they will be united by the law of justice and love, which will bring them peace as the fruit of their understanding and of their brotherhood. Thus united, they will be taken to the field of struggle where they will fight against evil, materialism, and lies. In this struggle, men of this time will see new miracles and understand the spiritual meaning of life, the one who speaks of immortality and peace. They will stop killing each other, recognizing that what they must destroy is their ignorance, his selfishness, and insane passions, from which his stumbling blocks and miseries, both material and spiritual, have come. 37. Where do idolatry and religious fanaticism come from? But from ignorance of the laws that govern the spirit, which is the cause of the wars that spread confusion among the peoples. destroying their men, but greed, inordinate or unstoppable hatred. 38. Conclude understanding that the final fight will not be of brothers against of his own brothers, but of good against evil. I will put my sword in the right hand of man, so that he conquers himself and reaches the gates of the promised land. But do not expect that earth is a certain country that you receive as an inheritance, because this new promised land you will find within your spirit, in the midst of peace. You will contemplate the transformation of your world, once uncertain, hostile and miserable, into a bountiful and welcoming land. You will live an existence where there is spirituality, justice and love. This will bring men progress, as a result of having fed on true knowledge. Human life will be higher, and when manifesting my spirit among the prepared men of the future, a time of revelations will come in all orders, and they will be seen the wonders and wonders having been fulfilled, which past generations have prophesied to you. 39. When the world reaches its new liberation and guided by the light of Elijah, it penetrates into that just and good light. You will have here on earth a reflection of spiritual life, which awaits you beyond this life to eternally enjoy my peace and my light. But if you ask yourself, how will all the nations come to unite into one people? How are those tribes who made up the people of Israel? I tell you, do not fear, because once they are all taken to the desert, the tests, and when this is, a new manna will descend from heaven to each of the needy hearts. 40. Rejoice in my presence, beloved people. Celebrate in your hearts, vibrate with joy, because at last you have seen the Lord's day arrive. You were afraid that this day would come because you still thought like the ancients. You believed that the heart of your father was vindictive, that he bore a grudge for the offenses received, and that therefore he would bring ready the sickle, the whip, and the cup of bitterness, to exercise vengeance on those who had offended him so many times. But great has been your surprise to see that in the Spirit of God there cannot be anger, nor fury, nor hatred, and that if the world sobs and laments as never before, it is not because his Father gave him to eat that fruit or drink from that chalice, but it is because it is the harvest that by his works is gathered by humanity. 41. Certainly, all the calamities that have been unleashed in this time were announced to you. But not for having been announced to you, you think that your Lord brought them to you as a punishment. Quite the contrary, in all times I have warned you against evil, against temptations, and I have helped you to rise from your faults. I have also put at your disposal all the means that are necessary for you so that you can save yourself. But you must also recognize that you have always been deaf and incredulous to my calls. 42. Today I am telling you, take my work as if it were an ark, and enter it so that you may be saved of the storms that are coming. But you will see how many will not want to give credence to my warning, and do not leave to prepare. And when the test comes and hits them, then they will start to say that I have avenged myself on them, and that I have punished them. 43. Hear my word, O people, and savor its sweetness. Open your hearts and you will feel my Father's visit. Confess spiritually before me, and you will feel a peace that will make you want to never lose it again. 44. How is it possible that you were waiting for me, if you were full of violence and if my coming has caused you terror instead of infinite joy? I tell you again that you have nothing to fear from me. Instead, from themselves, all evils can come to you. Take care then of the restitution that you can get because of your faults. 45. Jealous I am, inexpensive but fair, straight and pure. If you came from me clean, it is fair that in that same form you must return. I have taught you that the stained cannot reach me, before it must be purifying, and that it is what is happening in the world at this time. 46. In Jesus, the world looked to its humanized God. From him only men received lessons of love, teachings of infinite wisdom, proofs of perfect justice, but never a word of violence, an act or a show of rancor. Instead, look how he was offended and mocked. He had authority and all power in his hand, which the whole world does not have. But it was necessary for the world to know his Father in his true essence, justice and charity. 47. In Jesus, the world saw a Father who gives everything for his children, without asking nothing for himself. A Father who forgives with infinite love the worst offenses, without ever exercising revenge. And a Father who, before taking the lives of the children who offend him, forgives them, tracing with his blood the path of his spiritual redemption. 48. How was it possible that at this time when I manifest myself to men in spirit, I would come to erase from their hearts the concept they have of the loving and just Father, which they have formed of me through your life on earth? 49. You must prepare yourselves, because I bring justice for all. Prepare yourselves, because the majesty with which I present should not cause fear in your heart, but should be a reason for joy and happiness. 50. Watch and pray, so that in the coming battle, you can be by my side. 51. Contemplate how my light comes to tear the darkness of your world. Certainly that I come to fight men, but only to erase everything bad that in their hearts encourages. I will put the light and the strength of my love in those who faithfully follow me, and then they will say, we are going to look for the dragon that stalks us, the beast that leads us to sin and offend the Lord. They will look for it in the seas, in the desert, in the mountains and in the jungles, in the invisible, and they will not find her, because she lives in the heart of men. He is the one who has engendered it, and there it has grown, until it came to dominate the earth. 52. When the reflections of my sword of light strike the heart of every man, the force that comes from evil will gradually weaken to death. Then you will say, Lord, with the divine force of your charity, I have defeated the dragon, the one that I believe was lurking from the invisible, without actually thinking that I was carrying it within my heart. 53. When wisdom shines in all men, who will dare to turn good into evil? Who will give what is eternal for the passing? No one, truly I tell you, because all of you will be strong in divine wisdom. 54. Sin proceeds from ignorance and weakness. 55. That is why I am inviting you to enter my divine lesson, so that you may truly be children of light. 56. A new era has opened before humanity. While the world sleeps without realizing the light that is illuminating, in the spiritual there is joy and celebration. Above all spirit and upon all flesh, my spirit has been poured out in this time. 57. The new seed of Abraham is scattered, and it is necessary to gather it to give her my new spiritual lesson. Have not wars, destruction, chaos, and death were enough to make humanity understand that my justice has descended to make a call to the path of my law. The emissaries that I have sent sleep, and in the world they only go in after comforts, well-being, and land possessions. They have hidden the ideal of spiritual eternity. The voice of the consciousness has spoken to them, and their cry has been lost in the materialism of the human mind and heart. I have let all pain, bitterness, hatred, and impiety overflow. But at the same time I have reminded men of my law of love and justice, making them recognize that in a time like this my coming was prophesied. 58. A humble corner of the earth was chosen by me for my manifestation. Humble men and women were chosen at this time so that they would serve as a medium for my communication and have the happiness of being the ones who would listen to my divine words for the first time in this third era. Patiently, and by virtue of the essence of this word and the prodigies that I have done among my children, that first group became a crowd and later a people. 59. My word has fought to separate these hearts from material complications, selfishness and hypocrisy, also in keeping him away from vices and ignorance. That is the only cross that I have placed on his shoulders. But those are the first steps. I have told this people that the day will come when with their eyes, with their words or with their thoughts, carry out amazing works. When will these events be? When there is spirituality among you. 60. The unified thoughts of a multitude will be able to bring down evil influences and knock down idols from their pedestals. 61. Today you still feel trembling under the influence of war, before the fury of the elements, and you fear the judgment of man. It is that you still feel small and clumsy due to the lack of development of your gifts. 62. Blessed is the one who prepares, because being inside this battle, he will be the strong soldier who finally comes out victorious. What do you think are the forces that they will contain? You answer me with human reasoning. I tell you that it will be the forces of good and evil that must face each other in the decisive struggle. Which of these forces do you think will it expire? You tell me. Undoubtedly the force of good, Master. And in truth, good will conquer evil in you, when you love one another. 63. I taught you at that time to overcome the temptations of the world and death, making love and really come out triumphant. Now I want you to imitate me, to cast your passions out of your heart, so that there, within you, the peace of the divine spirit resides, and you invite me to have my sanctuary within you. So also when you have conquered evil, you will be surprised to understand that the temptation was formed by your passions, tendencies, weaknesses, and sins, and that when you conquered them, you gave death in yourself to that dominant influence. 64. Do merit to achieve peace, people, but do not ask me for that peace, without first having fought to deserve it. Times have passed. Your spirit has grown, and he will have to carve out what he wants and needs. His childhood, that age when the father had to provide everything for his little ones, has passed. 65. I am going to prove to humanity that its problems will not be solved by force, and that as long as they make use of destructive and homicidal weapons, however terrible and strong they may seem, they will not be able to make peace between men. On the contrary, they will result in greater hatred and desire for revenge. Only the conscience, reason, and feelings of charity may be the foundations on which the area of peace rests. But for that light to shine inside men, it is necessary that they drink first until the last drop of the cup of bitterness. 66. Do not be afraid, disciples, when you hear rumors of war, when you see hunger and misery and the strangest epidemics appear. 67. Deep down in your heart, you will have the certainty that when these tests come, humanity will be drinking the residues of the chalice of bitterness. You will not remain inactive or indifferent in that hour. On the contrary, you will surrender to your mission, bringing light to the mind of the confused and balm to the sick. 68. Watch and pray, people, that the influences of that evil force in which human passions vibrate and troubled spirits are agitated do not cloud the light that I have brought to your understanding. My peace be with you.